Welcome to a special historic Time Team style episode of the Lewisham Chronicles. Lewisham, 1450 AD. Local baker Alf Brimstall was drafted into the Plantagenet forces in the later stages of the 100 Years' War. Due to a severe curvature of the spine, he was employed as an arse pikeman in battle, defiling the disorientated French knights that had been knocked off their horses. He also made very good steak and ale pies. Lewisham, 1823. Local women on Christmas Eve evoking the tradition of Kringlefonk, where young women parade themselves naked by the fireplace in the hope of being chosen to be impregnated by Father Christmas. Strangely, all were disappointed. Lewisham, 1813. Medics at the Catford Light Horse Regiment dealt with a nasty outbreak of highly contagious pubic lice after the troops returned from manoeuvres in the Napoleonic Wars. Sergeant Wally Firminger stated, "They were massive creatures, often bigger than a threepenny bit, and the infernal itching doesn't bear thinking about." Thank you, Sergeant. At ease. Lewisham, 1879. Nigel Pike and Willie Rumple's disco operetta depicting the fall of Charles I debuted at the Ladywell Theatre on the 12th of June. Unfortunately, only 9 people attended, mostly their family and friends, and a local vagrant known as Merv the Perv. Willie returned to bricklaying. Nigel was last seen working in a molly house in Covent Garden. It certainly is not widely known that Russian Premier Vladimir Putin has family origins in Lewisham, as this 1784 painting clearly shows. Moving on to Catford's infamous gambler Mary Kelly, also known as Poker Mary, thanks to her especially inscrutable face mask, allegedly based on her great-uncle, the Australian outlaw Ned Kelly. In 1910, she reputedly won £6,000 in one night, a staggering sum in those days, although in this photo it looks like she's gambling with mere pennies. Sadly, Mary met with a bitter end, as many gamblers do, suicide in a rat-infested tenement. Clarence Mildew of Catford enjoyed his job as a motorcycle helmet tester for Triumph in the 1930s. Previous to Clarence's work, motorcyclists wore canvas helmets, which, as one may imagine, were hardly sufficient as a safety measure in the event of an accident. As time passed, a more sturdy leather helmet was designed, many of which Clarence tested until towards the end of his career the much stronger polycarbonate or Kevlar helmets became the norm. Clarence lived till a ripe old age of 91 and spent the last 10 years of his life singing Cockney songs in South London pubs, whether the landlord liked it or not. Amazingly, his autopsy X-ray showed 17 compound fractures of his skull. Rather touchingly, the new, much safer testing machines are named after our own pioneer of testing, Catford native Clarence Mildew. Lewisham, 1858. Judith Smith, commonly known as a knocker-upper, whose job was to go around every morning and shoot dried peas at people's windows in order to wake them up for work. This was in a time before alarm clocks became an essential household item. Fascinating. Knowing what we know now, this is pretty bizarre. Between 1890 and 1910, Bayer's heroin was available in the Lewisham Apothecary and most stores of that kind in London. It was sold as a non-addictive substitute for morphine. Oh, it was also used to cure children's coughs. Thankfully, not anymore. Lewisham resident Horace Gibbet in the 1870s wasn't just the inventor of the early but rather cumbersome hearing aid, but also several other strange inventions, such as the nose warmer, designed to eliminate red noses during icy weather, the moustache guard, designed to keep facial hair out of the way when eating and drinking, and, of course, the isolator, which enabled the wearer to concentrate on his work as all outside noises, smells and distractions were eliminated. During World War I, Dickie the Monkey from Catford became a celebrated hero. He was awarded a medal and promoted to the rank of corporal for courageously carrying messages past enemy lines. Incidentally, as a child, my next-door neighbour had a monkey, a filthy little bugger, who used to sit on the balcony and masturbate, grinning at horrified passers-by, obviously quite a different class of primate from our decorated veteran Dickie. It's a true story, you know, true. Items of historical interest for some. In the case of Meredith Austin, Meredith was asked to remove her selection of what she herself labelled as witch fuckery from the local charity shop. Some of the items were truly revolting, even featuring objects with real human teeth, as well as a plethora of foul and spooky icons, and, well, basically weird old tat. The afternoon after her special corner was dismantled, she showed up at the shop, shrieking strange incantations and curses in the most colourful of costumes. Hopefully now the curse is removed, as the wheelie bin was emptied by the council and the horrid collection gone forever. Quite frankly, we can do without this kind of twisted mumbo jumbo in the borough. Just to update on Miss Austen's situation, she soon recovered her composure and is now back to baking oversized bagels, which she donates to the Women's Institute. Good for you, Meredith. Which brings us to a timely end of another episode of the Lewisham Chronicles. Goodbye.